Coming live from the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSC Hawaii on the Hawaii Pacific University campus at Aloha Tower Marketplace, here's your host, Hawaii Pacific University's Vice President and Chief Marketing Communications Officer, Jeffrey Rich.
Aloha, Sharks Nation, and welcome back to Sharks Weekly. I'm back after a short hiatus, but you are back here with us today for your one-stop source for all things HPU athletics. Today, we are stepping up to the plate to highlight Hawaii Pacific University baseball, a program that is on the rise with big ambitions for the 2025 season. Joining us in studio today are head coach Dane Fujinaka. We also have senior catcher Daniel Danjo Johnson, graduate student pitcher and co-host today, Vicente Molina, and we have senior right-handed pitcher Conor Hourigan. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're going to dive in a minute and get going and talk about the exciting season ahead. Also, too, your return to the Hans L'Orange Park. I love to say that, Hans L'Orange Park. It's a cool
nailed
name.
it.
I did. It's not often that I nail a name. And we're going to hear some stories about what makes the program so special. But before we dive into baseball, a couple of reminders for our listeners. First, let's all get out and support the HPU men's basketball team at the Shark Tank tonight. We have a big game that starts at 7 o'clock. It's with Hilo. And the game is going to be televised on Spectrum tonight. So even though you can catch that game sitting in the comfort of your own living room, get out there and support the team, and hopefully we'll have a big Sharks victory tonight. Second, just a reminder that we want to hear from you. Don't forget that you can text in your questions for the baseball team or for me or for Paul. That number is 808-888-5481. Again, 808-888-5481. All right, guys, let's play ball. So, in our spotlight today, we have a returning champion, Coach Dane Fujinaka, who has been a frequent guest on our show. Dane, it's good to have you back.
Good to be here.
So just a little bit for your introduction. So you have been at the helm of HPU baseball now for 4 seasons, and you've transformed the program into a comprehensive and complete force in the Pac-West Conference. With your background as a player at Sac State and Menlo College, and coaching experience of the Toronto Blue Jays in their minor league system, you bring just a wealth of knowledge and a winning mindset and winning tradition to the Sharks. So you've got this program really headed in the right direction. A couple of highlights from last year's season. You guys finished 30-22. That's a big season of wins. Man, 17 and 15 in conference play, and it marked your best finish since 2016. You guys also earned a postseason berth, the program's first since 2010, so 14-year hiatus, or drought, I should say, kind of put off to the side. Congrats on that. You guys led the Pac-West in hits and triples and stolen bases and walks and ranked second in batting average and third in runs scored per game, so huge offensive production last year. You also set a program record in fielding percentage, 971. For the second consecutive year, so clearly strong on both sides here, offense and defense. Some individual successes. You had some standout players last year that really earned some accolades. You had 8 players named to the Pac-West All-Star team. 2 players earned all regional honors. Wow, you guys were just loaded. So, Dane, it's good to have you back. And let me ask you a couple questions before we also bring the student athletes into the conversation. But, what do you think is the biggest difference, the biggest change in recruiting over the last 3.5 years that's really led to the sustained success that you've been able to create?
The first year I inherited a team. I think we had 36 or 37 guys at the time. I was hired late in September, so school had already started. And that was a good group, for me to start with. There's a lot of local kids. From a talent standpoint, we were good. I thought that year we had overachieved. I thought we did a really good job as a coaching staff, really setting the foundation for what it's going to be like for the next 3 to 5 years. Winning a Pac-West championship and bringing that back to HPU is the ultimate goal, and that started with building the culture. And as far as the recruiting side goes, we were really intentional about making sure that we bring guys in that fit that mold. So talking to their high school coach, talking to their families, and really putting the talent or the skill set secondary to that piece to make sure they really fit.
Chemistry.
Yeah. So year 2, we ended up winning 20 games, so a little bit of a step up in the right direction. But I did think that year we took a big jump from a culture standpoint. A little bit bigger team, just to give us a little bit more margin for error. I did think that year we were a lot more talented than the year prior. We had struggled that year in particular to get local recruits. I think Noah Hata was our one local recruit that played every day. Ryan Inoue was also in that recruiting class, but I actually thought we underachieved that year. Although we made a little bit of a jump, I thought we could have done a better job getting that team to play together a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then last year was the big jump to where I think collectively as a coaching staff, the one thing we were intentional about was bringing in leaders and guys like Vicente and Scott Armstrong and guys that have come from winning programs, regardless of the level. Vicente is a Division III player who made it to a super regional. Scott came from Cal Poly Pomona, where they played in a super regional the year prior. So, both guys were captains and really led that team to, places where this program hasn't been since 2016 and 2010.
Yeah.
So, fast forwarding to this year, again, really honing in on winning and bringing guys in from winning programs. I want to say out of the 25 guys that we did bring in, I want to say like 23 of them came from winning high school programs and or junior college or four-year programs. So,
what a difference that can make. You're right, the attitude and that experience and that ability to know how to handle success and to build on it. Wow. Well, high expectations this year for sure. Well, let me bring my co-host for today into the conversation, an outstanding student athlete himself, Vicente Molina. You are a graduate student pitcher, hometown South San Francisco, and you are majoring in organizational development and leadership. Some highlights: you were the SCIAC Male Scholar Athlete of the Year. And it's good to have you on the show and co-hosting with me today.
Yeah, excited to be here. It's going to be a fun one. We got a lot of unique personalities on the desk right here, so we're excited to talk Sharks baseball and look ahead to the spring season.
Well, let's start. Do you want to introduce your colleagues here from HPU Baseball?
Yeah. Right here we got our ace, Conor Hourigan, my roommate. We actually, back home, we live 15 minutes apart. Can't get away from this guy. But this is my guy. He's he takes the ball every time, tries to go deep in the game, and always gives us a competitive chance to win the ball game. And then right next to him is Daniel Johnson, our captain catcher. He's a grinder. He's always putting in work, trying to put our pitchers and our team in the best position to succeed. He also will steal a bag on you if you let him, and he'll knock one out of the park whenever he can.
Nice. Well, I know we've had Daniel on a couple times, and always an interesting conversation. And just for some background, so Daniel is from Gilbert, Arizona, and is a communications major. And 2024 highlight, All Pac-West third team and captain of the Fall World Series. Conor, a right-handed pitcher, hailing from San Mateo, California. And last year was a solid performer and standout pitcher, and one of the aces of the staff this year. So a lot of pressure on both you guys as leaders and standout players. So how do you feel about the season?
I feel pretty confident in the season. I don't know if I feel the pressure of it. I think we're just going about it the same way we always do. I'm excited for the season to get going. We had a pretty good fall. It was long, but it was fun, and just seeing how the guys play. It makes you want to see what it's going to be like going up against another team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What are your thoughts, Conor?
Well, I think that we did a really good job reloading all the pieces we lost on offense, and our pitching staff, we got a lot deeper. So I definitely think that this season, there's not too much pressure. I think it's a lot more excitement from what I've heard, especially from the guys. So.
That's a good way to head into the season, man. If you had that much success last year, but you don't feel the pressure of expectation, and it sounds like there's a calmness on the team and a chemistry that the coach has built. So, like I said, high aspirations, but you guys aren't feeling it, so that makes it a lot easier.
Got more to go too.
Wow. Well, Dane, let me come back to you. So what are your highest priorities for the 2025 season as you build on last year's success? What else do you see as things you can improve on and things that you're really going to focus on through the season?
Yeah, just to touch on what kind of they said on the pressure piece. I mean, we really focus on like discipline. So the 3 core values that we have are discipline, confidence, and selflessness. So, rewind to last year, it was only principle was the expectation to win. So, it's taken us a couple years to get to that point to where every time we step on the field, we're expecting to win regardless of who we're playing. This year, I think that expectation doesn't need to be set as much because a lot of the guys returning, a lot of the guys we brought in come from that already. So I think this year it's more focused on, okay, how do we maintain that success? And I think it starts with discipline, confidence, and selflessness. So, I think that takes away a lot of the expectations. It takes a lot away from the pressure to be able to just focus on what's in front of you. And they can focus on each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest key to our success this year is just being able to stick to that and, kind of block out everything else. And I think if we do that, we're a pretty solid team.
Yep, and confidence and not cockiness. When you've got players that come, as you said, from winning programs and a solid last year, it's easy to build that confidence, but hard to not get cocky.
Yeah, I honestly think you need a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little swagger.
And part of that is I think, you need that like selfish, like I'm better than you mindset. And there's a certain way to show it, and each guy's a little different in the way they do, but I do think you need that self-confidence for sure.
Yeah, I think last year there was a lot more pressure just with how everything was going, and we brought in the pieces that we thought would make this team whole, and so I think that living up to those expectations, there's a lot more pressure. But now seeing how the team is, it feels like, well, we already did that with what we had last year, and now we've just upgraded. So now let's see what's going to happen. So I think it's more so about not so much living up to those expectations, but it's just that we know we can all play baseball, and we know that we can win. So let's just go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling, good position to be in. All right, I'm getting the word that we got to duck off here for a quick commercial break. But before we do, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to one of our amazing sponsors, Duke's Waikiki. An iconic establishment in Waikiki. Duke's Waikiki celebrates an atmosphere that encompasses surfing, the spirit of Hawaii, and live music on the beach. I try and head up there on Sunday nights myself, and it is a wonderful place to be, so check it out if you can. You're listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm Jeff Rich, your host, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back. And hey, just another real quick shout out for another one of our sponsors. I want to thank Hula Grill. Take in a fiery sunset while savoring the vibrant flavors of the island. And you can do a doubleheader. You can go on a Sunday or Saturday and hit Duke's, and then run upstairs and go grab another bite or cocktail at Hula Grill. So fun afternoon on a nice weekend. So hey, let's jump back in and start asking some of our players some questions about how they're feeling and how things are going heading into the season.
Yeah, let's get right to it. We as a team, we've been grinding all fall. We got early morning lifts out in Manoa at the Shark Tank with Skylar Yamamoto, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., getting after it. We're practicing at Kei Lagoon, either in the heat or the rain. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We're making it happen.
5 a.m. start. Man, you guys get going early.
Yeah, we get used to it. And then on the weekends, we got inter squads Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Hans Larange at night. We're grinding, and we've been putting in a lot of work. And I'm curious to know, Danjo, as a position player in the program, what's that experience like for you during the fall?
I love it. It's a grind. We start off the fall with goals, with the weights coach, with our hitting coach, like with Richie, the hitting coach. We set out a few different goals that we want to hit by the end of the fall, and same with Skylar, our lifting coach. We have goals set that we're trying to reach, that we're working for the whole fall. But yeah, it's a grind, but you learn to love it. and you're doing it with the whole team, and whether you're struggling or not, like you're just happy to be going through it with the guys, and I think it brings everyone closer. And it just makes it worth it at the end of the fall, after the Fall World Series, and like, okay, yeah, that wasn't too bad. Now the next thing to look forward to is season.
Right. And then for you, you've been here for a few years. How has this fall been different for you compared to previous falls?
Well, my first fall, it was 2 years ago, 2023, the 2022-2023 season, and that fall was pretty hard. It was my first year here. And our weight room was, at Kehi Lagoon, and so you'd do your practice, and then right after you'd do a lift. And so it was hard. It was a grind. And then the next year, last year we moved our lifts to the Shark Tank, which was nice. But then Dane was like, "Yeah, let's make it at 5 a.m." And I was like, "All right." And the first 2 months are the easiest because you're excited to get back into it. You just spent the summer not doing anything, so you get back into it and you're excited. But like once mid-October hits and you're still waking up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and it's really hard to get up. But you still find a way to get in, get your work done, go home and get a meal, and then take a nice nap before going to baseball. But yeah,
I got a question for you. So who struggles the most on the team with getting there by 5 and making it that early?
I don't want to call anyone out, but statistically,
I'll tell you, Noah.
All right.
He's never late, but he looks like he's still sleeping.
That is pretty early.
And then for you, Conor, I'm curious from the pitcher side of things, how's the fall for you?
Well, this fall has been a lot different than last fall. Last fall I came in, just tried to adjust, moving to a new place. Balled out, kind of showed, tried to prove myself a little bit. But this fall we kind of know where we're at. So I talked to Dane before the season, as so did the rest of the staff. And we kind of set like a goal that we wanted to hit for the fall. Some people had, whether it's like command goals or velocity goals or basically anything that we needed to work on. So this fall was a lot more just kind of like fine-tuning the things that I needed to work on from last season, which was really fun too, because there's more of like there's a very nice path to where I should be. But yeah, I think this fall the 5 a.m. lifts were awesome. I like them a lot, and yeah, I'm excited.
Well, you've played in 3 different programs now. HPU is your 3rd program. You went to Skyline Junior College in the Bay Area, Sacramento State before coming here, and now here at HPU. What do you appreciate most about being a Shark?
I appreciate the grind the most. I think that waking up early with all the guys, getting your lift in, on like weekends, sometimes we'll go straight to the field and we're together for like 6 hours, like give or take a break in the middle. We're just, whether we get food after lift and that camaraderie, I like that a lot. That's something that at my JUCO and at Sac State we didn't really have. So I appreciate a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing. Like our field's about 30 minutes away. We have to drive to our weight room. So there's a lot of carpooling situations going on. There's a lot of meals spent together. We do team bonding. Like early in the fall, we have beach workouts on the North Shore where, we get to experience the beauty of the island as well as like getting after it and then connecting with teammates after. We eat after at Dane's house. And it's just always a good time and able to, build the relationships ultimately. Because in college sports, yeah, we want to win, but the lasting impact is the relationships we're going to have. And I think we do a really good job as a program developing relationships and sustaining them as we go.
Nice. You talked about, events and community and all, and you guys have a lot going on this year with some team events and community outreach. I was going to ask you about, you got is it the First Pitch Paina?
Yeah, so we have our annual First Pitch Paina. It's going to be here on January 18th upstairs at the Sunset Ballroom. That's always a great event. And then other events, we usually have like a free youth clinic that we'll do at some point in January that I'm still trying to figure out what day works best. And then we're umpiring. Vicente and Conor are actually going to go umpire a Pinto tournament this weekend. Which would be awesome. It'll be fun for them to experience what it's like being an umpire because it's hard.
Yeah.
And I can tell you those Pinto parents get after it. I did it last year.
Man, yeah, I've seen some parents get after umps in Little League Baseball coaching over the years. And you guys just had, was it the alumni game back in mid-November?
Yep, November 15th.
How'd that go? Maybe some highlights. How did that go, and any memorable moments?
It went about as you would expect. We dominated, and a couple of highlights. Turner Jameson, who was a player here a couple years ago, he made contact with a ball.
As a hitter, but not as a defender.
Yes, in center field, he completely whiffed on a ball, but he came a lot closer than I thought he was going to. That was actually probably the one highlight for me. Oh, Hayden Huff.
Did you get that on film? Anybody?
I probably not, but it'd be a really good video, because he was so confident in it too. Like, he was right under it, and then the ball just missed his glove. And then Hayden Huff, he struck out when I told him what pitch was coming. So that was another highlight. But it was all in all, it was a fun. You love having the guys out there. I don't want to. Richie, he just he could do better on the defensive part. He's our hitting coach, and I don't think he had a hit. So. I love giving him a hard time about that.
Richie played out of his mind. That was like the best I've seen him play, and I coached him for 2 years.
But yeah, no, and then it was all in all, it was fun. Love having the guys come out. Love getting to see the different generations of HPU and showing respect to them. But yeah,
nice. How long have you guys been doing the alumni game now? Is it
I believe
many
year.
years?
Yeah.
Has the
year.
alumni ever won?
So yes,
okay.
I want to say I think it was 2019. The alumni team actually beat HPU.
Wow.
I always hear about it. I've never I wasn't there obviously, but. Yeah, I heard they actually beat them. So.
Do they have somebody on the mound that?
Well, I think
hit?
part of that was that current team's pitching staff pitched for the alumni team.
Okay.
So when you put it that way, that it makes sense.
Yeah.
And we did a little bit of that this year too. We had some of our guys pitch for the alumni team just to make it a little bit more competitive.
Yep. Well, that's the beauty of awesome pitching, is it can neutralize the entire team,
defense,
right?
Yep.
Next year, the alumni will win for sure. I guarantee it.
Are you planning to? Are you going to pitch for them next year? Is that what? Okay. Wow. Well, it's interesting. I'll have to definitely. We'll have to check the alumni game. I did not catch it this year, but it sounds like a lot of fun. What about other community engagement opportunities? What else do you guys have coming this year? I know community engagement and service activities are always important for team building and chemistry. What's on the horizon for you this year?
Yeah, right now we just have the Pinto tournament I mentioned, and then we'll have a free youth clinic all the way from K through eighth grade that we'll have probably at Kehi. We've had it every year that I've been here, and we've had 100+ kids show up.
Nice.
It's a really good time. Obviously, a great opportunity for us to give back to the youth community, and hopefully get those guys interested in HPU and get them wanting to play here. And I think the more that we do those type of things, I think that's part of the reason why we have more local kids now. Each year, it's gotten better with the recruiting. But I think the more we can get our brand out there and our brand of baseball out there, the more they'll want to be interested in coming to play for HPU.
Yeah, and it's an exciting brand for sure. You guys are an exciting team to watch. All right, we got to take another quick commercial break, but before we do, I just want to remind our listeners that today's episode of Sharks Weekly is brought to you by Hawaii Pacific University's Holomua Commitment. HPU puts a private college education in reach by guaranteeing admission and at least a $15,000 scholarship for local high school students with a 2.75 GPA or higher. Guaranteed admission, guaranteed scholarship. Visit hpu.edu/affordable for details. Hawaii Pacific University is Hawaii's affordable private university. And we'll be right back. You're listening to Sharks Weekly.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we're back listening to Sharks Weekly. And just a reminder to our listeners that you can text in a question if you are interested. And what is that number again, Paul?
Number is 808-888-5481. One more time, that is 808-888-5481. Send us a question or two or three. It can be anything. I mean, Daniel's already racking up the questions in our text bar, so
Yeah,
add on to the list.
Nice. Well, let's come back to our conversation. So Dane, we were talking earlier about recruiting, and I'm interested to know: are there specific skill sets that you look for in recruit and target?
Definitely, we're definitely intentional about the type of player, pitcher, or hitter or defender that we look for. Generally speaking, the catcher, shortstop, and center field position, we're defense first. We're looking for the best defender that we feel, because defense, I think, is a priority at playing at a high level. And specifically with Danjo, I recruited him a couple years ago. Catching was probably the biggest need at the time defensively, making sure that we bring in an older guy that has leadership skills, that can defend. So that's Daniel in a nutshell, and why, what stood out to me when he sent me his film on Twitter, that's how I recruited this guy, was his defense.
Yeah.
And offensively, we knew that there probably wasn't going to be a ton of potential as far as just run production, which actually is not correct, because he has been in the middle of our order the last couple of years. But we knew he put the ball in play, which is huge for us as an offense. We look for guys that make a ton of contact, that don't swing and miss a ton, that get on base and hit doubles. So offensively, if I could pick a player, that's kind of what they would look like. On the pitching side, specifically for Vicente, honestly, I didn't know, because he honestly did not have personal success as much as he had here last year. So I obviously didn't know that. The only reason why I recruited Vicente was because a couple of his references, both players and coaches, had really good things to say about him from a culture standpoint. I knew he came from a winning program. His coach had really good things to say. So really, that's why Vicente's on the team, and why he's a captain now, and why he's continuing to lead our team to new heights. And then Conor, I obviously played at Sac State for the same coach that he played for at Sac, and got a good recommendation from him, and said that he was a strike thrower that was going to compete, and that's exactly what kind of guy we were looking for.
Yep.
He was a standout player in junior. I think he was a NorCal Junior College Pitcher of the Year in 2021, 2022. 22. So we knew he had prior success, and he had a potential to be an all-conference type of pitcher. So
Yep.
He's turned out to be just that, and we're looking for a big year out of him. But to answer your question, yeah, we do look for specific skill sets. On the pitching side, strike throwing. On the position player side, the ability to put the ball in play and play good defense.
Yep.
And then, rewind to last year about my specific height requirement.
Oh yeah,
yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember that now.
We look for big dudes that can do damage. Absolutely.
And
I
are
don't think
intimidating,
I don't
right?
think anybody in the country doesn't look for that. I just happen to say it specifically. But no, I think I don't know. Maybe it's a good time to tell the Rich and the broadcast how you guys ended up here, what your guys' thoughts were before you guys came here.
So during my recruiting process, which I had to go through 4 different times because of the amount of schools that I went to, but I remember I was about a day away from signing with another school, and I was just had a gut feeling, just wait it out. And then that's when Dane and I got in contact, and in my head I was I'm afraid of flying. I don't want to be in Hawaii where I'm 7 hours away from home. But
was the other school close to home?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was just a state away. But it ended up being the best decision I've ever made. And coming in and kind of knowing what my role was supposed to be, and then to my standard, and I think Dane would agree, exceeding those expectations, and still finding ways to be better for the team and for myself. But yeah, it was the best decision I've ever made coming to Hawaii Pacific.
For me, So when I was at Sacramento State, I kind of knew that there was kind of something missing for me. So I entered the transfer portal after talking with Coach Christensen, and my godbrother actually went to Hawaii Pacific, played baseball here, I believe in like 2012, 2013, and he actually told me to go to Skyline, and I loved Skyline, so I trusted his word, and I entered the portal and I reached out to Dane, and all in all, I committed here. Like Danjo said, one of the best decisions of my life. I love it so much here. Learned a lot about myself, baseball, met a lot of great people. Love the school here too, the education. It's very fun for me. So yeah, I was kind of the reason. I just heard a lot of good things from a person that I trusted a lot. Obviously did some research too, and saw that Dane also played at Sac State, and
a lot of Sac State connections, right?
Yeah. And I just kind of figured, like, I had a good feeling that we would get along in some capacity. So I was like, it's a perfect place for me.
Yep.
So yeah.
Nice, Vicente. What was it that made you ultimately want to come here? The coach talked about what he targeted you for from a recruiting standpoint. Your ability to help create team chemistry and just somebody that was coachable. But what was attractive to you about coming here?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. So my first 2 years of college baseball were COVID, and I went to the University of Laverne for 4 years. Loved it. It's a great winning program, great culture, great standards of excellence on and off the field, and I learned a lot of valuable things. And with the first 2 years being COVID, we had short seasons, and I got 2 years of eligibility back. So it was junior, and it was like my first full season of college baseball. And looking back, I felt like I was cheated, so I always knew I wanted to utilize those 2 years of eligibility with my master's degree. So I graduated from Laverne. We had successful seasons, and entered the portal. I was trying to look out for a new school, and I had verbally committed to a different school close to home, and it was like I was a day away from signing up for classes and everything, and they called. They said they wanted to move in a different direction, and this was summer of 2023, and I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. So I had to scour out, and I was playing summer ball, just still trying to chase the dream, and I was losing hope. It was getting late in the summer, and I didn't really know if I was going to find a school or not. I kind of had a plan lined up to go back to my high school and actually coach the JV team there. It was fully in the works, and then I was just scouring schools. I saw Hawaii Pacific. I had a teammate on the Dub C Fish Sticks where I was playing summer ball at that's actually from Hawaii, and his dad owns Hawaiian Hardball, and he knows Coach Richie, who works there. And I asked him, hey, do you know anything about the school? Like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, I can put you in contact with Coach Richie. Call Coach Richie. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a school. Let me know what we can work out. And he's like, thanks for reaching out, but we're done. We're done recruiting. See you later. And I was like, all right, so that's over with. And then two weeks later, Dane emails me back. He says, hey, sorry, I just saw this. I'm really interested in seeing what you can do. And I don't know much about you, but I've heard a lot of good things. And I want to give you an opportunity to be a part of our squad. And I remember it was during batting practice, I was on the phone on the warning track, and I was just forever grateful for that opportunity. It truly was a blessing because I was losing hope, but I was still clinging to that dream. And I got that opportunity, that one shot, and I knew coming in, like, I couldn't waste it. So I wanted to do everything in my possibility to, like, obviously be good on the field, but I knew I was entering a program that was looking to get better day to day, year to year. And I knew that was the main focus and the main goal of the program. And utilizing my experience in college baseball, I wanted to give back in any way possible, on and off the field, building relationships with my teammates and coaches, having a high standard of excellence for our performance, and ultimately just trying to leave the program better than when we got here.
Yep.
So I think we've been doing a good job of that.
Do you have coaching aspirations when you finish your playing career?
Yeah, some way, some form. I'm very, I'm gravitated to being a part of a team, especially when you're competing for something. Like that's what fuels me. I need that competitive drive in me. So any way I can coach or be a part of a team is what I look forward to after playing baseball.
Nice. Well, I think you picked out some standout players, Dane, for sure. And as I keep saying, the success of the program is demonstrative of those good decisions. So congrats. And man, is it going to be an exciting season. So let's talk a bit about team dynamics too. So we've been talking about the importance of community activities and things on and off the field. When you think about players that really bring it and are inspirational for each of you, are there players either from your past or pros that you've kind of looked at that are models of inspiration that give you, sort of a look into how you want to conduct yourself, personally on the field? But maybe Daniel, what about you? Who do you look up to?
So my JUCO coach was a big. He was very, very big for me in my career with the mental side of things, and so I look up to him and Ted Lasso. Have you ever seen the show?
Sure. Yeah.
I always try my best to have that mindset, and with some of the guys on the team, it is harder because I'm a lot older than I'm 6 years older than the youngest guy, and so there's just a different way that I would go about something versus a freshman would go about something. But I always do my best to just have that positive mindset, that positive energy, the uplifting. When someone makes a mistake, it's like, hey, get the next one. Like, I don't want to bring him down, because at the end of the day, I like what's going to help us perform is our confidence and our looseness. And I think if I'm getting on these guys and making their lives harder, it might be for the worse rather than for the better. So watching Ted Lasso, and I've probably seen it 3 times through. And if there's something going on in the team that needs to be addressed, I'll flip on Ted Lasso. I'm like, all right, how did Ted Lasso address this? And then I'll channel my inner Ted Lasso and see how that goes. And most of the time, it works out good. Sometimes it doesn't. I go home and I'm like, wow, that was just a really bad call on my part. But yeah, I'm still learning.
Yep.
But yeah, I just go about it every day, and hoping to experience something new.
Yeah, that character in that show seems to have had such an impact on so many people, in a positive way, which is something you can't say often about TV series. But all right, Connor, who's your inspiration?
Well, just like Vicente, I grew up in the San Francisco area, watching Madison Bumgarner. That's my guy. What he did, I believe, against the Royals, he came in Game 7, like that kind of dog mentality. I really like that. Took it with me a lot too through high school and junior college as well. We had a good coaching staff that kind of taught like the mental side about, at the end of the day, hitting's hard. Like as a pitcher, you shouldn't really ever feel like you're playing defense, like you're playing offense as a pitcher.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, all that mixed together is kind of what I like to embody. Because sometimes it gets a little crazy, but other than that, yeah.
Nice. Vicente, real quick before we break.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to add to the Giants' dynasty reign, the best team on the West Coast, by the way.
You're a San Fran ringer, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I would say, his battery mate, Buster Posey, he came in and he changed the identity and the culture of the team with his performance on the field and then the way he led the group of men. And from a very young age all the way up until the end of his career, he was the same guy and had a standard of excellence that now he's the general manager of the team or the president of baseball operations, and he's trying to bring that back to the Giants. And it's really inspiring to see, especially for us. Like growing up, that's probably when we really fell in love with baseball because the team was winning championships. We had really good players, and it just gravitated to us. The energy was great.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm being told we got to take our last break here, but you are listening to Sharks Weekly on 95.1 FM. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back, and it is time to check in on any questions for our guests. Paul, anything come in on our text a question line?
Yeah, we, as always, it seems as though we might have someone who is a little familiar with the team. And once again, if you're trying to get into the conversation, you can send us a text at 808-888-5481. But this one is for, unfortunately, the least personable and least funny person on the panel, and Daniel. And it says, ask Daniel. Marry, kiss, and perhaps dispose of instead of the word that's there for now. Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. And I'm actually genuinely curious about this one, my friend. Where would you go on that?
I'm genuinely curious about this too. For sake of argument, and I just asked that there's no follow-up questions after this. I'll go marry Captain America, and then I would go kiss Iron Man with his mask on, of course, and then dispose of Thor. Nothing against Thor. I just feel like of those options, Tony Stark is. I feel like we could have a good time together, and then Captain America. I feel like he's a good humble man.
Stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Well, Tony might also pay for
Exactly,
lunch,
yes,
whatever
yeah.
it might be. I like the thought process. You said no follow-up questions on it, so I will respect your wish. Also, just before we keep on going, do want to give one more shout-out. Men's basketball tonight, obviously, on Spectrum, and then tomorrow, women's basketball on these airwaves, Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760. You can tune into that as well, supporting all of these student athletes as you are here today with the baseball team. And we still got plenty more to talk about and not a lot of time, so back to you, my friend, Mr. Jeff.
All right, well, let's jump in, gather a little more insight. Dane, so some changes in the conference this year. Tell us a bit about some of the new teams added.
Yeah, so Westmont was new last year. They came off a national championship at the NAIA level. Finished second in our conference. Was probably, in my opinion, the best team in our conference. Weren't eligible to make the postseason. So obviously they're returning, and they are eligible to make the postseason this year. We have Vanguard, Jessup, and Menlo. So three more teams that were added. Menlo was that's my alma mater. So I'm really excited to go back there and play that team. And then Jessup, I spent a month stint in the summertime with Jake McKinley when I moved from Menlo to Jessup. So I have some roots there as well. And we played them a couple of years ago in 2023. Where we were able to beat them. So I'm excited to get back up there. They had a really good season as well this past year. And then Vanguard, we played them last year.
Okay.
So Vanguard comes here. So.
Yeah. Daniel, I want to shift it over to you.
Mm-hmm.
We had the privilege of being captains for the player-led Fall World Series. For me, it was just a rewarding experience to lead the team throughout the week and, make a practice plan, put a focus for what's going to happen in the weekend, and then just compete our butts off against one another. Great job, my friend. You came out victorious in Game 3.
Thank you.
I'm just curious to know, what was the most rewarding part of that week for you, and then, your favorite moment from that game?
That was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. That week, there was a lot of times that I wanted to text Dane, be I don't know how you do this for a living. Starting off, I draft my team, and then we have our first practice, and then two of my guys are sick, and I'm like, well, get over it. In my head, I'm like, I've played sick so many times. Grow up. Let's go. 2 days later, we have our 2 days later, we have our next practice, and another two guys are sick. And I'm like, all right, what is this? Come on, guys. We all let's just be smart. Let's grow up. And then first game, I'm playing with 8 guys in my lineup because of the bug that's going around. And then we're doing good, and then my star center fielder Noah, he just does not know how to score on a base hit, and hurts himself rounding third base, and he's out for the weekend. And so now I have 7 guys in my lineup. I have to put a pitcher in the lineup. Steven comes in clutch and hits an RBI double. And then the next day, I had a different guy that was sick, and he's out of the lineup, and Nunu's out of the lineup. So it was just a lot of things falling apart, and just trying to come up with ways to win. And we did. And I another thing that I got from Ted Lasso, I brought a believe sign, and I just kept telling everyone to believe in yourselves, believe in the guy next to you, and we did. And then we came out on top, and it was a great 3 games. And the only time I felt rewarded was at the very end.
Yeah, it was an exhausting weekend.
It was exhausting. Yeah.
It was really exhausting, but ultimately it was really fun to experience that.
Yeah, no, really fun.
Did that take any desire to coach out of your system, or is
only for the fact that we won, if I lost, I'd be like, yeah, why would anyone want to do that? But because I won, I'm like, yeah, I could do this. Like, this is so easy. But maybe I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know if I could deal with the stressful part of it and the making decisions, and then guys coming up to me like, wait, hey, why am I playing here, or why am I hitting in this part of the lineup? I'm like, because I said so, and that's what I need from you. But yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, this is the part of the show where we have a little fun and maybe have a couple of rapid-fire questions that are of a funner nature.
Sorry, I got one more.
We got one more?
I got one more text question, and it's actually about Hans Larange Field.
Hans Larange Field.
Just, Dane, for you, the thoughts on being back at Hans and what it means for the program and quickly for the players as well, how you guys are enjoying being back at Hans?
Yeah, it's awesome. The city and county did a really good job cleaning that place up. They renovated the parking lot, renovated the bathroom, and for those that are from Hawaii, know that there was a big homeless population there that they've kind of mediated and got under control. So that's been awesome. The surface has been great. Overall, we're extremely excited to get back there. It's been 2 years, so. I know these guys, luckily are able to get back there for their last year.
Nice. All right, a couple quick fun questions. All right, guys, so first one, I'm going to start, Vicente, with you. So who is the best-dressed player on the team?
Me.
All right, I like that confidence. This room is full of confidence, I have to say, and professionalism.
I want to ask this one to Connor really quick.
Okay.
Connor, what's your pregame superstition?
Oh. Well, Sent and I are roommates, so he gets to watch it weekly. But I make a pound of spaghetti. I often eat the entire thing, drench it in olive oil, and put 9 ounces of Parmesan cheese on it.
Man, that's loading up on some carbs.
Yep, carb load.
All right, let's see. Go-to pump-up song for you, Daniel.
Blank Space by Taylor Swift.
Ooh, we got a Swiftie here.
No, hold on, not a Swiftie, but I accidentally listened to this song one time and then hit my first home run, and so now I have to listen to it for every game. Yeah.
Oh my God! All right. Well, we're going to end on that note since I hear the music, and that's a good way to end. Anyway, so let me first say mahalo to Coach Fujinaka, to Daniel, Vicente, and Connor for joining us today, and don't forget to mark your calendars for the first pitch, Paina on January 18th. And the Sharks opening game on February 1st and 2nd at Hans Larange Field. Sharks Nation, let's make it a great 2025 season to remember. And I want to thank everybody for listening.